Welcome everyone to another Real Talk Forum. It's been a minute, but we got a special, I guess a special edition and a very special guest as well. This is going to be a promo for book 2 of Gaikokujin-The Story. And for those who have read it, book 2 begins when I enter the army. And actually, this is the story I wanted to tell. I didn't really want to tell the story about my childhood because it's a little bit embarrassing. But when I got to the army, a series of miracles occurred. I mean, just the fact that, as you can see, I'm wearing my BDUs. These are not camouflage, they're called BDUs. And for those who know, if you get kicked out of the army, you don't get to keep your BDUs, right? They take everything from just throw you out on the curb. So just the fact that I actually got out and was able to not be incarcerated or not get killed really says a lot. So what we're gonna do is, I got my man here, and this is a guy that was actually on the ground there back in '86 at Fort Leonard Wood. I'm going to let him introduce himself, but this guy was in basic with me. So holla at the people.
All right, thanks for having me. My name is currently Mansoor Zulfiquar, a.k.a. Blake Hawkins, as I was known back at Leonard Wood back in '86.
But his name is Blaine Hawker in the book.
Right,
Blaine
right.
Hawker.
Right. So left home, as Taquan mentioned, and left home to, just for a better life. Grew up in Ohio. A lot of steel mills, just called the Rust Belt. Now, that's what I wanted to do. Grandfather did it. All his brothers, my dad did it, wanted to do it. So that wasn't happening in '86. They were shutting down. So I joined the military to try to find and seeking a better life.
Okay, well, hold up. But when you originally for the army, you were in the Guard, right?
Yes, reserve. I was in active duty. Because I didn't score high enough. So
I didn't know that.
I got the score I needed to join, but I could only join reserve. So that just fueled me even more. I was pissed, you already ain't getting a good education, you know what I'm saying? And then you don't score enough to, like, damn, I'm only reserve. Like, no, I had to do something about that. So I went and finished boot camp and everything.
Okay, let me set this up also, because one of the reasons I'm having this is because, to me, from my perspective, and I'm sure I'm going to learn some things here that I didn't know. He and I, we were like polar opposites. We became very, very close during basic. And we didn't really talk to each other after we got, after AIT. We went to AIT in Virginia. We saw each other a couple times. We weren't in the same company though. And after that, we didn't speak for what, 25 years until, I found him on Facebook when I was writing the story. All these people came up. So I looked him up, and we jumped right back in like we had never separated, right? We just started talking again.
No time in between. Yeah.
But
you told me you had an old number that I wrote from my dad. You called my dad.
Yeah.
And he gave you the number, and that's how we talked. I was in Afghanistan at the time, but yeah, that's how we linked back up. But you're right, it was just like we was talking a couple days ago, man, after 25 years.
Yeah. So let's set it up. So coming into basic, and you've told us the reasons why you were going. But what was your mindset when you were going in? Like last couple of days, what did you do?
At the time, I was with Sterling then, so I spent as much time.
Who's Sterling? Who's Sterling? Remember? Oh yeah, another thing. Yeah, you have to, because if we start talking military jargon, we have to like try to make sure we're not, out over talking the layperson, right?
Gotcha.
And then we're friends, so we'll start talking to each other. So who's Sterling?
Well, Sterling was my at that time girlfriend, engaged. I guess we were, we hadn't been engaged, but it was a foregone conclusion. We were going to get married.
High school sweetheart.
Exactly. Yep. high school sweetheart. You dated almost all through high school, last 3 years, not my freshman year. So at Sergeant First Class Jones, I scored, got my test, and he said, well, you're gonna have to wait because I guess in Ohio, or the way they were doing it was sending a certain amount of people there. So he said I had to wait a couple weeks, and I said, okay. So I had time, so I wasn't really doing it, worried about it too much. Then he came to me like on a Tuesday or something and said, hey, I got a spot for you now, you can go. And it was Tuesday, and I was leaving by like Thursday, and I wanted to stay a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to stay a little bit later. He was like, hey man, I thought you wanted to go, because I told him everything, how I wanted, I was trying to get out of here. So I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I said, forget that, trying to stay back for birthdays and all this other kind of, no, it's time to go. So I packed up my suitcase, and left. And not to mention I overpacked, I'm going like I'm leaving forever, you know what I mean? And it wasn't
on
even
vacation.
like that. Yeah.
You ain't gonna need none of that stuff.
Right. Well, I packed for vacation for a year. I had all my stuff in the bag, man, or suitcase. But
okay. Let me. Okay, go ahead.
No, you good. You got it.
No, and I want to contrast that so you can see where his mindset was. He was debating on doing something for his family, or staying back for people and certain things. He had a steady girlfriend, and now contrast to me. Right now, and that's the whole undertone of this entire interview. We were polar opposites, and this guy was kind of like my mental health consultant in basic. He used to actually calm me down because I was a little bit off, but I was a juvenile delinquent, right? So I was out in the street acting crazy, and it really became to a climax that last week because in a really drunken stupor, and I write this in book 1, in a really drunken stupor, these older guys got me drunk on this stuff called Everclear. I come home, and Everclear is like moonshine, right?
Yeah.
And I come home, and long story short, I get in a fight with my father. He actually, this was a climax of a whole bunch of series of events, and he practically kills me, and I get kicked out of the house, and so for the last week, I'm on the street. I'm just going from place to place, and you're going in the Army, everybody wants to throw a party for you, and I was the guy with all the party favorites anyway, and so I pretty much stayed awake the whole week, until I went. What happened to your light, man? You got
no. Go ahead, continue. I'm just trying to move the light. So
I thought you was trying to change the mood. Like ain't that kind of video. Like,
I know who you telling. Nah, not at all.
I'm just joking. But yeah. So I was on the street and just really, it was just abuse of all kinds, substance abuse and all. And remember, I'm 17, 18 years old. So when I get to basic, I'm going through withdrawal, and I didn't even realize this until I started writing the book. Like that was part of my instability. Right now, I get to basic. I got stitches in my face, stitches in my hands. They shouldn't have let me in. And the recruiter taught me how to hide. So they couldn't, because remember they do a run through when you're leaving to make sure you're not damaged.
One last check. Yeah.
Looking for people like me. Right. And I was kicked out. I said, yeah, I have nowhere to go. I got to come stay with you. And he was like, all right, we're going to try to get you here.
Yeah.
He stopped the car and got me out and made me do the whole thing that they were going to have me do, the whole series of exercises. So I get in. And even when I get in, and the two things they tell you in basic, do you remember what are the two big no-nos?
Don't volunteer.
Don't volunteer for anything.
Yeah.
That's number one. And the second one is,
what's the second one? Don't talk too much or something like that.
Yeah, basically that's what it is don't stand out.
Yeah.
Do not stand out of the crowd because they need an example. They need somebody, they got to, So I didn't volunteer for anything, but I definitely, I failed the second precept, just hands down. All right. So let's move on.
Least.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about first impressions. So your first impression of basic, and then your first impression when you met me.
Hold on, my dang on.
All right.
Camera went out for some reason.
Oh,
Or went to sleep.
Okay, I see you.
Can you still see me?
Yeah, there was no break over here.
Okay, anyway, I don't need to see. So first impression, this dude, we were standing out by, I think we were in between getting dogged out and getting checked in and all that stuff from the first day about the first week. And we were standing outside.
So this is the reception station. Remember, we get like 4 or 5 days at the reception center.
No, we were at our barracks, man.
Okay, so we were in basic. Okay, good. That's what I really want to talk about that. All right, go ahead.
Yep. And I don't know, my head was dry. And he ain't even know, but he came up behind me, said, "Yo, man, your head, you got all that dry stuff in your head. It's flaking out." He just like basically was cracking on me in front of everybody, right? And then, I ain't think nothing of it. I was like, whatever, in my mind. I was like, what did I say? I said, I didn't have lotion or something or oil or nothing to put in my hair because we wasn't.
He was humble. He was explaining. He was humble. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just shrugged it off, and I'm like, "Who is this dude?" Because I'm from a small town, and unless we know you, ain't nobody go come up to date somebody they just met and say nothing like that to somebody. So I thought that was, I just took it in stride to say the least.
And that just goes to show you, like, that's my way, because I didn't know how to deal with people, right? So I'm trying to meet you, but I don't know how to just come up and say, "Hey, how you doing, man? My name," you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do that. So my way to do it is to crack jokes.
Right.
Coming off the block. All right. How about a basic training, just like everything you heard about the Army when you went in the transition from civilian to military?
For me, I mean, that's what I wanted to do. So I wasn't going to complain about nothing. I might not have liked everything I did, but I knew why I was there. Like you mentioned earlier, it was for the family. So, I never had a job back at, I had one job growing up, and I was just telling my wife this, Zed, the other day. The first job I had, man, I was washing dishes, and a good friend of mine helped me get it at a place called Shoney's, right?
Shoney's, boy, the buffet. That was the joint.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I said, I was 18. I played sports in high school, so I ain't really have time for a job. But when I did try to go find a job, I couldn't find one. So I went there the first day. Anthony, he called me. He said, "Yeah." And I mean, it was at our mall, so I rode a bike to get there. I was happy than a mug, washing dishes like Kunta Kinte or somebody. I'm saying I was proud, man, because I had a job. And then that's when Sergeant First Class Jones called me the next day and then told me everything, and then I was gone after that, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so I wanted to be there, and if had I been active duty, I probably would have stayed in the Army for those 20 years, finishing that and going to the Marine Corps and whatnot. But yeah.
Okay, well, and I'm sure he knows himself better than I know him, but he told me when we were in basic that he was going to join the Marines. And I was like, "What? You're going to join the what?" And this is, again, the contrast, because you heard what he just said. He went over there, and I used to watch this guy because I couldn't understand why he was so calm. Because now for me, I was, like I said, lack of parental guidance. I thought this was still high school. I was in basic cutting up. I was a rebel. I was trying to rebel. I thought I was supposed to be fighting the drill sergeant for some reason, and I was trying to lead uprising. I don't know what was wrong with me when I look back at this, but I remember I was actively involved in this. And some of it turned out to be actually some constructive, positive stuff. I hope we can get to that with the city crew. And
Yeah.
but I just want to say, I hated this. I hated it. It was torture for me. I was not adjusting well, and I really want to get into some of the specifics because, again, standing out is a no-no. So not only did I stand out to the drill sergeants, but I also did my best to be an asshole to all my roommates and and here's the thing. I didn't even realize I was doing it. This is just how out of touch I was, because I never would have tried to do that with my roommates. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. They're kind of on the same thing, but just to show you the first week, and I don't know if you know this, you get up, you do your routine, and then your morning routine, you'll brush your teeth, shit, shower, shave, all that stuff. And then you got to clean the barracks, right? And every squad has a different assignment, and everyone in the squad has an assignment.
Right.
For me, I thought, oh, the drill sergeants aren't going to supervise this. That means it's time to relax. Like I was seeing this as prison or slavery or something. And I literally, because what happened was they wake you up in the morning in a really, really traumatic way. I couldn't take it. So after the first day, I was so traumatized that for the rest of basic, I would automatically wake up at 3:55 and get up and go in the bathroom. And I remember the first couple of days, I used to be like this in the bathroom. I couldn't, he's banging on the wall. I couldn't take it. And, but I remember the first day I went in there, I was like, oh, I didn't bring my toothbrush and stuff because I was just trying to escape. And then I was like, I can get in here because, there's lines forming at the sinks and you got to use the bathroom. So I was like, oh, I can get in here before everybody. So I started getting in before everybody, brushed my teeth and using the toilet, everything. And so consequently, I would be done. I'd be dressed. and I used to go back to the room, make my bed and lay down on the floor and go to sleep. I didn't clean nothing. It never even dawned on me that how was everything going to get cleaned? It wasn't like I wanted everybody to do my share. That's how it came off. But I was rebelling.
Right.
Like, why would anybody do anything? That's how I really saw it. I was just still a child. So everybody in my room didn't like me. You know what I'm saying? And also, I just want to go back to that day one, the very, very first day. And I don't even know if you knew any about this. You're not supposed to stand out. So what was your mentality coming off the cattle truck? Do you remember that far back?
Yeah, hold on 1 minute. Zed, go upstairs and do that. We're doing an interview, okay? So he's recording this. All right?
Sorry.
All right. Hey, so you say what was the cattle truck?
Yeah, so we arrived. They put us on these cattle trucks. I was calling them sheep trucks because I was like, we're sheep. They got us, and they put you, even if you go on YouTube now, they show a version of it. But because it's nowadays, it's just, it's way different. Like they was literally throwing people off the truck.
Yeah.
Like grabbing people and throwing them off the truck when we got there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like I say, I wasn't gonna let nothing bother me. It was funny back, I don't know if you remember we had just to get off track just a little bit, but still boot camp, when we had the base maintenance or something, and you worked in the chow hall, and I was on the truck going around base, freezing, picking up trash.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you, and I remember you was laughing at me hard too, dog. I was like, this dude is a straight up asshole, man. I mean, this is after we got cool and stuff, but still, I was like, he don't never stop. And I said, we dropped you off, and I said, man, I ain't gonna let nothing get into, because I said my ancestors went through more than this. And right before you got off the truck, where you said, well, you go ahead and enjoy your ancestors, I'm gonna go work in this warm job. And man, look, when I was out there, I was mad as hell. I was cold, picking up trash. I mean, we were out there picking up miles of trash. It wasn't a lot, but it was just long,
Yeah.
So I was like I say, I just had a different mentality that I wasn't go no matter, they wasn't gonna break me. Basically, it wasn't nothing they could do it outside of killing me that was gonna make me give up, you know. So that's how I thought about the cattle trucks. I was like, dang, it was crowded, it was hot. I remember when we got dropped off at the barracks, I was, you know, I don't know, I guess I had some kind of anxiety attack or something, because I had my bag, I was hot, they was making us do push-ups, open up our bags and all this crap, and you know, I started getting lightheaded, man. I bent over, I was about to like fall
Pass
out or
out, yeah.
something, right? And Sergeant First Class, I think his name was Lavadier.
Yeah. Now, yeah, that, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, he came over. He's like, you know, that was the one and only time one of those guys talked to you with some kind of compassion. You know, he's like, hey, just calm down, son, breathe, this and that. This.
He
said,
was the nice drill sergeant. He was the nice guy, though, of our 3 drills. He was the nice guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was. And
he wasn't nice, but of the 3, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He just
drill,
right. He had compassion at that time. He understood, in other words. So he got me right there. When I got right there, he jumped right back into, you know,
you imagine
whatever.
Okay, but exactly. Okay. Now again, you see how he to him this was not traumatic. So he remembered that detail because that was traumatic to him. But all of it was traumatic to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like I'm saying, I was traumatized. I was in the truck, and Sergeant Assumption, who ends up, we have a relationship that comes up. He's on the truck with us. He got his first class, you know, his what do you call him? His class A's on.
Class A's, right.
Yeah, we got in our BDU. So, you know, we're getting our first look at a drill, you know. And I remember looking at him and thinking, oh, he little. You know what I'm saying? He was a Filipino guy. I was like, oh, yeah, you know, because I'm on this, I'm on the block. And so, you know, he caught that. You know, he caught that. He was talking real nice to us while we were driving to, and then as soon as we pulled up, he just turned into this different person. Right? Yeah, man. I'm like, yo, what's going on? All of this psychologists worked on me. So everybody, and all of a sudden the doors get open, and all these other drill sergeants from nowhere, they hire some guys, some temps or something, some crisis actors. I don't know where they are. It was like 100 drill sergeants, it looked like. And they're pulling people off the truck and yelling. And you have your duffel bag. So, you know, once you get into the flow, you have to get off because everybody starts moving. And I was like, yo, it was danger out there. And I was like, yo, so I jumped off to the side and let everybody get off the truck. Because I was like, my mom was like, I ain't going out there. And so nobody knew I was on the truck. So I sat on the truck and was watching y'all. You know, yo, I actually fell asleep in the truck. I fell asleep. Y'all were out there doing push-ups, and I was so traumatized that I was, you know, watching, being quiet, and I fell asleep. And then the guys start, you know, they're and I can hear them laughing. They're up in the front laughing. There's a specialist and a sergeant that drove the truck, and I'm like, oh, I ain't going out there. Hell no. And I was like, I'm gonna drive back. I'm gonna be in the truck when they open this thing. I was scared, you know. And dude, when he started the truck, I woke up and I realized I was like, no, I'm staying here. But then the guy came around to close the door, the specialist, and then he saw me. So then that's when everything came back to reality. I just jumped out. Right. But, you know, but the drills were like, because y'all had been out there at least 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I fell asleep. You know what I'm saying? So y'all, I mean, when I looked at y'all, everything, you know, I could smell all the sweat. Y'all were sweaty.
That was part of that me bugging out, you know, because they was wearing us out, man. You know what I'm saying? Do this, do that. I was like, man, I don't, you know, which way to go.
Yeah.
And that's when Lavadier came. So that, you on the truck chilling. We out here getting wore out.
So I didn't even realize this was going to make me stand out because, again, it was instinct. I didn't plan this, but it didn't look like that. Especially, you know, I was 18, I was cocky. So I get off the truck and, you know, I don't know how this is going to play out, but all of a sudden I just see everybody, all the drills are like, what the fuck? What? Because they know that they missed. Somebody was supposed to look inside the truck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I grabbed my duffel bag and stepped over people. I wasn't in the Army yet. Y'all were in the Army. I was still a civilian. I didn't know what to do. I was like, so I stepped over everybody to the side. Remember, some big ass. I went all the way to the grass. I put my bag down and sat on my back. like I was gonna watch. And Sergeant Wingo, he came in. He was like, "What the?" It was funny. I realized that he didn't really try to grab me because he wasn't going to just beat me up, but he had to act that angry. And when he went to grab me, I just jumped on the ground and started doing push-ups. But everybody was laughing. You know, they were laughing under their breath though. But I remember I was like, "Yeah, I made everybody laugh," so I felt like I was winning. I was like, "Yeah," because I seen this as a battle. I seen it as a battle. You saw it as a battle inwardly. They're not going to break me. And I'm like, I'm going to break y'all.
Yeah.
I'm going to change basic. After me, there's going to be new rules. Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to just keep this contrast going. Right. So then, okay. And you probably don't even remember too much the rest of the day, do you?
Like I say, I remember us out because we were in front of the barracks at this point. When we got off the trucks. So that's where we were living at. And, you know, once they threw all our stuff all over the place and then we got it and packed it back up, we went inside, you know, got our room assignments. And I don't remember, you know, like too much after that. We probably went to chow or something after that.
Okay, you know, again, because it wasn't traumatic to you. But for me, it was traumatic. You know what I'm saying? and by the way, folks, even though he's a star in the first part of the book, he hasn't read the book. You know what I mean? He ain't read the book, so he would be, you know, he would be up on it if he had. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. We ain't gonna go there. So no, we went to get our linen because we didn't have any. You know, we put our double bags, we put our bags in there, and then we lined back up. We got our bunk assignments.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now. Yeah, you're right.
And then we went back out because everybody was like, they gave us a moment so we could find who. No. We got it in line. I don't think we went inside yet. They gave it to us in line while we were lined up, and then they at ease us or whatever, and then so we could find who was who. And that guy. This is where the story in the. Oh yeah, let me share this picture. I can go take y'all back there. I'm thinking y'all seen this. This is a picture of us in basic. I didn't get the other one up yet. Maybe we won't even see that today, but you know what I'm saying? This is
I hear you. Yeah.
Right. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, that's
all right.
The one.
See that?
Yeah.
I'm running out of time. But
who we are?
Y'all, I thought you might have came up on the screen. I get 10 more minutes before it's gonna cut, and then we just have to come back on.
Okay.
And I just edit all that stuff. But yeah, so this was some not everybody, it's not the whole crew, but this is some of the guys, but you can see, and I'm gonna call him Hawk here because he was the Hawk here. This, right. I call him Hawk. You know what I'm saying? So you can see him right here, and this is me, right? And people actually used to say we looked alike. Right. You remember that? Yep. Yeah, I remember. I was always happy when anybody compared me to somebody who wasn't Japanese or Asian because I had a complex, you know, about that. But right. But if you look
that
here,
was Ricky Bell, who was the first one that said that brought it to attention. You know, well, we called him Ricky Bell. I forget the brother's name, but he looked like Ricky Bell from New Edition, Jones. Just like Jones. There you go.
He called what to? Oh, that we looked alike. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, again, Jones had a lot of practice. He looked at me a lot because we were roommates, right? Right. So that guy Jones, you can't tell here because this is we're graduating, right? This is our last day. There's not even, you can see there's no linen on the bunks. We were that leaving. Was it. And so he's skinny here, but he was a chubby guy, and he's behind us. But you can even see there he's a little bit taller than Hawk and myself. So he was probably like 6'1", 6'2". When I met him, he was probably like probably a good 230, 220. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm like $170. You know what I'm saying? When we go into basic. Yeah. And all right, I'm gonna stop the share because it's slowing up I wanted to get that out there. Okay. But I want to just give you a, so you can see the people, you can see the time back in 86. But that guy Jones, he was supposed to be my bunk buddy. So bunk buddy means the two people, you saw the bunk beds. So the people who sleep together in those, not together, but in that set of bunks. Right. And also you'll have adjacent wall lockers. Yep. Right? They have adjacent wall lockers. So we got our assignment. I meet him in line, And at the time, you know, I was really on another battle. I was, you know, white boys. I didn't want to be around I didn't want to be around with white boys. And so he was a brother, so I was happy. And he seemed cool enough. We shook hands, seemed cool. We exchanged whatever. Now we get our linen and we go back into the room, and I see everybody talking about who's going to be on the top, who's going to be on the bottom. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody had a discussion, you know, just out of respect. I get to my bunk. I was one of the last people. After they showed us how to make the bed, we went in, they showed us how to make the beds. Right. And then in a class, and then we went back to our room. And I'm one of the last people getting in there. And I know I'm slow when I do things for the first time. So I'm nervous because, you know, they're like, you got 15 minutes and we're going to be in there, you know, we're going to inspect, and, you know, and anybody, and you always know if you're the standout, like they'll dedicate or the push-ups to you, right? And everybody knows it's because, you know, Hawkins is slow, so, you know, thank him. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so you don't want to be that guy, you know, because you have to live with these dudes. So I'm trying to get there I'm like, yo, I don't know if I know how to make this bed. And when I get there, this guy's already making his bed. He's on the bottom. And so he had already decided. We didn't have a discussion like everybody else was having. Mm-hmm. And I noticed it, but I was like, yo, I ain't gonna say nothing about it. Cause I had a bunk bed at my house. So I used to sleep on both the top and the bottom, you know, after my brother moved out, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
I didn't care, but it was a respect thing. And this was big for me at 18. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I played it off. I was going to go on the top. I was like, you know, yo, I see you already got here. I'm trying to be small, you know, small talkish, because I'm thinking I'm going to need some help making this bed. Now he got his linen. He put it on the top bunk while he was fixing the bottom. So I'm like, yo, can you get your, I announced I'm there. So he was thinking he would take it.
Right.
He just ignores me and keeps making his bed. So I'm like, so finally I'm like, oh, yo, man, can you get your, just like this, not in no aggressive tone. I'm like, yo, because again, I'm thinking I'm gonna need help, and I can see he knows what he's doing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, he's my bunk buddy. I'm trying to get along with him. Yo, man, can you get your stuff off the bed so I can start? Yo, I ain't lying. He turned around. No, he turned around and looked me dead in my eyes, said, "Bitch, wait." And got back to doing his bed. Yo, he said it, the whole room got quiet. Mm-hmm. And yo, son, I just started feeling this anger, this heat started raising from my feet, man. And I was like, did this motherfucker just do that?
Yeah.
You know? And I remember I backed up for a second. I was like, yo, because I almost got overwhelmed by this rush of anger. Because I'm already, I'm unstable. And yo, man, so I'm like, fuck this army shit. I want to fight now. You know, I switched. Yeah. And so I'm like, but it wasn't, I was so angry I couldn't talk. And but it wasn't in me. I never stole on nobody before, right? And his back is turned to me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what to do. And so what I did was I went and grabbed his linen off of my bed, went to the window and threw it out the window.
Yeah.
Now we're on the second floor, right? So I threw it out the window because I wanted him to fight me. So I had to disrespect him, you know what I'm saying? So then I went to the window, so I turned around. I'm like, yo, what's up now? What's up, man? Get up. What you want to do? What you gonna do? Yo, this cat looked at me. He was in fear. He was in fear. And this is a big boy.
Right.
So I go at him to break the distance because I want to fight. I wasn't trying to be cool. I was like, fuck this army shit, you know. And he gets up and runs away from me. And so I'm like, what? I'm mad now because I need to get this out. And so I grab his blankets and pillow and I go back and throw them out the window. Right. And I'm like, yo, you gonna make me chase you down, you bitch? I'm saying all kind of expletives. I mean, I can't say the F word enough.
Right.
And I'm just losing it. I'm just out of control. And like I said, if you read the book, I really break it down. But you know, I finally run at him. He runs out the room. And right when he runs out, Drill Sergeant McDowell comes in. And he almost runs into him. They almost collide at the door, man. And McDowell played the role like he didn't know what was going on. And he made everybody like, what's going on? What's going on? You know, and everybody, and he asked Jackson, because Jackson was the room leader. Right. And Jackson was in the picture. I should have pointed him out. Big dude, PFC.
DC Jackson.
Yeah, DC. And
right.
And he was and so he set the tone for the whole room. He was like, Drill Sergeant, I was busy making my bed, and I didn't see what happened. Right. Because you know, we're all young. Nobody knew what to say. So the drill sergeant scared me. So he went right on protocol. And then once he said that, because he, you know, drill sergeant was like, no, I'm gonna find out, blah, blah. So I actually, he was so smart. He got us in a circle. He never looked at me. He never looked at me. He kept his back to me most of the time. And Jones was on one side. He was looking toward Jones, and I was on the other side, and Jackson was next to me. And Jackson, I went to raise my hand, be like, oh, you know, and because he knew Jones was doing something, right? Because yes, but he was on Jones. He was like, Jones, where were you going? Where you going? He's like, nowhere. He's like, you think he started laughing? How you think I'm stupid? You was going somewhere, man. You almost ran me over. You know, and he being fun. So he's like, where were you going? He's like, nowhere. He's like, yo, what were you doing? Nothing. You think I'm dumb. So then he started asking everybody. And then so I was gonna raise my hand, and Jackson grabbed my hand and was like, no, put it back there. No. He said no, because he was like, yo, this guy caused it. You know, he caused it. No, this is justice. You know what I'm saying? And once he did that and everybody seconded him, the room okayed it.